This area is prone to earthquake, which can trigger landslides, and we have seen such incidents in the past. Uttarkashi was not having any unusual sort of rainfall activity in the last 3 4 days.
Are you indicating that something more would have attributed to this landslide?
Not every heavy rainfall event triggers landslides and flash floods. And similarly, not every landslide or flash flood uh, has an extreme rainfall event as the trigger. As of now, we do not have very clear idea of what exactly triggered this. There have been violations of ESZ norms in these areas in the past.
On August 5th, 2025, in the Dharali village of Uttarkashi district in the Uttarakhand state, heavy rainfalls triggered landslide and four people have died in the flash floods, homes swept away, and more than 60 people are missing, including 11 Indian Army personnel and 28 tourists from Kerala. Today, I have with me Amitabh Sinha, who's the deputy editor at the Indian Express, and he writes about environment. And I will be discussing about this particular incident that has literally shaken all of us at this point in time, with the kind of rescue operations that are taking place and so little time left in our hands to ensure that as many people are rescued. My first question to you is, I saw this one video where you can see, and that was the first video that we got, where you can see the landslide, and it was a huge one. It went through the village, in the Dharali village, and it was devastating to watch. Can you tell our viewers about the topography? What does this geography sort of look like, this whole village?
So, Raleigh, as most of us viewers would also know by now, it's on the way to Gangotri Glacier. Harshil is the place which is also a tourist center, and if you move from Harshil towards Gangotri, that's the you know, uh, that's the place where this village is located, which witnessed this flash flood on Tuesday. Now, Dharali, the location, there is nothing very extraordinary about the location of this village in Uttarakhand. There are hundreds of similar locations all across the state. So it is not anything unique about the topography itself which caused the incident. In the sense, yes, the topography was important. The kind of the the mountains and the valleys and the river that flows through. What I'm trying to say is that there are hundreds of similar kind of places in Uttarakhand which face similar kind of threat of flash floods, and we have seen some of these places witnessing flash floods during monsoon season. So Dharali just happened to be, the epicenter for Tuesday's event, but you have lots of similar locations all across the state. Uttarkashi, as our viewers would also know, this is the northernmost part of Uttarakhand,
Okay.
and very close to uh, once you move beyond Uttarkashi, you also start encountering lots of glaciers, and now Gangotri being one, but also you find a lot of these glaciers. So it's on the topmost part of
Highly
Uttarakhand.
mountainous.
It's very mountainous. It's a hilly region. You have mountains. Again, you have lots of rivers and rivulets and streams. These areas are prone to landslides, which are fairly common during this time. This area is also prone to earthquake.
Okay.
Entire Uttarakhand, though no earthquake happened yesterday, but this area is prone to earthquake, which can trigger landslides, and we have seen such incidents in the past. This area is also prone to, you know, uh, glacial, more glacial ice melting away. So a large chunk of ice from the glacier, if it gets separated, for example, and then moves into the river or the streams, that can also cause damage downstream. So this area is prone to
Prone to
these
landslides.
kind of things, and it's a fragile environment. It's a very fragile
Okay,
environment.
okay.
So that's the
Um,
location.
okay, understood. So it is prone to landslides, but one of the things that you corrected me earlier was about the cloud burst, which a lot of people are sort of reacting to. But you said it's not that. It's not a cloud burst. It was heavy rainfall. Can you tell me more about that?
So, cloudburst has a technical definition.
Okay.
So, according to the IMD's classification, IMD's definition, cloudburst is something, a very heavy rainfall event, uh, at least 10 centimeters of rain in about 1 hour in a very small area, about 10 kilometer by 10 kilometer grid. If that kind of an event happens, it gets classified as cloudburst. So you have 10 centimeter, and 10 centimeters are actually a lot of rain. So 10 centimeter rainfall in a very small area, 10 by 10 kilometers, in a very small period of time, about 1 hour, that gets classified as a cloudburst. By that definition, say if you have 5 centimeter of rainfall in about half an hour, in roughly the same amount of area, then that also gets classified as cloudburst. So cloudburst is nothing but a very intense, very extreme rainfall event over a very small area, right? Very localized event, not a widespread rainfall activity, but a very small, over a very small area, but very intense rainfall. And as I said, 10 centimeters is actually a lot of rainfall. Just to give you a sort of.
Yeah, what was the rainfall pattern in the last few days? If you can tell
So
us about
actually,
what the difference is.
Uttarkashi was not having any unusual sort of rainfall activity in the last 3 4 days. So the entire state of Uttarakhand, uh, on the third, fourth, and fifth, uh, witnessed more or less continuous rainfall and a lot of rainfall. But Uttarkashi was not the district where a lot of rainfall happened. Haridwar witnessed a lot of rain. Udham Singh Nagar got a lot of rain. Nainital got a lot of rain. But Uttarkashi did not have extraordinary rainfall. In fact, if you look at IMD data on the third and fourth, uh, Uttarkashi actually received far lesser amount of rainfall than what is expected on these days. Far less than normal. Uh, Only on fifth it had pretty good rainfall, which was 10% more than normal. 10% more than normal rainfall is not an extraordinary event. I mean, these kind of things keep happening. In fact, if you look at some other places, Haridwar, for example, got more than 1,000% more than normal rainfall on fourth or fifth one of these days. So Uttarkashi did not receive that ways of very heavy rainfall. But again, the one thing that I would also want to quickly point out is that we are talking about 24-hour cycle. We are talking about rainfall in a 24-hour period. Now, supposing you had whatever 10 millimeters or 20 millimeters of rainfall over a 24-hour period, if all of that happened only in about 1 hour or 2 hour, then that makes the magnitude gets amplified, and it has a different kind of
Yes,
implication.
yes.
So we do not have a very good idea of how much rain happened and whether all of it happened in a very short duration. But over a 24-hour period, it wasn't an extraordinary amount of rainfall.
Are you indicating that if the rainfall was not that much, what you're saying, are you indicating that something more could have attributed to this landslide? Because one of the reports it talks about how this whole zone is eco-sensitive zone, and probably the kind of construction work that is going on in that whole area probably has sort of added to this disaster.
So I'll come to that in a moment.
Yeah.
But what we have to understand is that not every heavy rainfall event triggers landslides and flash floods, and similarly, not every landslide or flash flood uh, has an extreme rainfall event as the trigger. So both of them are true. There are lots of things that have to come together for this kind of an event to happen. Now, extreme rainfall events are fairly common during the monsoon months. It's not unexpected, but not every extreme rainfall event would trigger landslide, and not every landslide would result in flash floods. So there are lots of things that have to come together. There has to be a landslide or a mudslide or something of that kind. Then all that debris that comes down from landslide, on the rocks and stones and brick and mud and silt and all that, they have to find their way into the streams or the rivers for them to then start going downstream, and then adding momentum on the way, and then becoming stronger and stronger. But supposing at the origin itself, supposing a landslide happened and all that came down, did not end up in the streams or did not end up in the rivulets or rivers, they got blocked on land because of some reason. And lots of times these kind of things happen. So you won't see that resulting in a flash flood, right? At the same time, not all not all rainfall would lead to landslides. Sometimes you can have landslides. Sometimes it just goes just like that.
So, in your opinion, all the reports that you are reading and whatever the data that you have collected so far, what is indicating this staggering amount of devastation that we are
So
seeing
as of
that
now, we do not have very clear idea of what exactly triggered this. Right?
No.
So we do not. What we know for certain is that there was rainfall that happened. What is also very clear that there was landslide that happened. But what we do not know is that whether this particular rainfall triggered the landslides, that the landslides would not have happened in the absence of this kind of rainfall, that we are not certain of. Maybe the landslides had already, the debris had already reached a certain level, and it only required a sort of a minor trigger to let it all go. We really do not know. There can be other things also, as we discussed earlier. There's this possibility of, again, there's no evidence as of now. People are still trying to find out, but there is possibility of, say, a glacial ice breaking off, getting into the river. So that in these kind of events, that is also a possibility that is always open. We do not, as of now, know whether that was the case in this particular event, but these kind of things do contribute. As far as your other thing about this being an ecologically sensitive zone, and the fact that there are human activities that are happening, including construction and all, so that is always a contributing factor in a place like Uttarakhand. Now, Uttarakhand, the entire state, is is ecologically fragile, even though the entire state is not exactly an eco-sensitive zone. Now, but this particular event happened very close to an eco-sensitive. I'm not sure whether it happened within the eco-sensitive zone, but fairly close. The Bhagirathi eco-sensitive zone is very close to this place. Possibly the location actually is within the boundaries of Bhagirathi eco-sensitive zone. And within the eco-sensitive zone, so these are like fragile events, they are demarcated as such, and there are very strict norms for what you can or cannot do, especially with regard to construction and building and all those things. Now, there are some claims. We have put out a story as well that you know, there have been violations of ESZ norms in these areas in the past, which have been flagged. Very likely, uh, these must have happened.
Right.
But to say that those activities are the ones which triggered it, that would be slightly premature. But then these kind of activities, yeah, they do contribute. They add to the fragility of the region. Yes, and there are very strict norms about how you can carry out construction. What exactly can you do, and how do you dispose the waste and all sorts of things. Now. So
Right.
once you have these activities going on, yes,
It may
they
contribute.
would be, they can become the contributing factor, or they can exacerbate the impacts of such events. Again, as of now, in this particular event, we do not, as of now, know how much of man-made activities can be, how much of this can be attributed to man-made activities. There have been in the past several other incidents,
Right.
including, if you remember, the Kedarnath tragedy of
Yes.
2013. A lot of that was attributed to, man-made activity, human activities that have been going on. Fairly unregulated events. There are regulated construction activities. There are a lot of unregulated activities that keep going on. But in this particular event, these are still early days, and we really do
We have
not
to
know.
wait.
Yeah, we do not know.
Yeah. Just since we are talking about that, I just want to quote our report on the Indian Express. It says that several citizen groups in Uttarkashi opposed the proposed construction of a bypass between Hina and Tekla on NH34, which is located south of Dharali. And people even wrote to the Supreme Court appointed committee opposing the plan to fell 6,000 deodar trees for the bypass. And Ravi Chopra, who headed a Supreme Court appointed high powered committee which appraised the Chardham project in depth, he told the Indian Express that on that stretch from Darasu to Gangotri, the headquarters of Madhwari block is located, and the slope there has been sliding away for a period of time. And scientists have studied and published paper on that. And they had said that the road widening was not recommended and advised not to touch it. So, of course, this could be a contributing factor, but we'll have to wait and watch what
So,
really happened
yeah.
in the rally. And
So, as I said, such concerns are pretty common with any kind of activity that is going on in Uttarakhand. Uh, not very, not specifically this one only,
correct.
but across Uttarakhand, and there's a lot of things that are happening in
These are
Uttarakhand.
like wake up calls for
Yes. Now the thing is,
everyone and the government as well.
yes, and there have been lots of incidents since 2013 as well, including the sinking of the land in Jojima. So that was a big event. So these kind of concerns have been raised in most of the projects. There's a lot that is happening in Uttarakhand. Uttarakhand is there's a lot of road construction happening. There were dams, hydroelectric power dams that were being built. Some of them had to be abandoned because of these kind of
Yes.
concerns. Some of it is still going on. There is a lot of lot of influx of tourists in the state because of religious tourism, because of which you have lots of tourist infrastructure coming up. So, and all these activities, even if they are regulated activities and within the norms that have been prescribed, they have these kind of concerns attached to it. And there are people, there are environmentalists like Ravi Chopra and others who have been continuously flagging these concerns.
Thank you so much, Amitabh. We really have to look at the unchecked human intervention in such eco-sensitive zones, and we also have to take note of the kind of destruction it may bring if we really do not take care of the environment around us. But at the same time, hopefully, the rescue operation is successful and more people are rescued from the location. Thank you so much for bringing in all those details and letting us get a grasp of the initial 24 hours, what people should be actually thinking about, and to give us the great insight that you have got in this conversation. Thank you so much, and
Thank
thank
you.
you, viewers, for sticking through this conversation. If you liked it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, The Indian Express. And for more such explainers, also leave comments if you want us to talk about something else on Uttarkashi incident. Thank you so much for watching.